All right, hello, good morning, good evening, and good night. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic, because in today's video, what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about the Yieldmax distributions. So for those of you who aren't aware, Yieldmax's ex-dividend date is tomorrow. So today was the last date to buy within March in order to receive the March dividend. Their ex-dividend date is here. I can't really highlight it. It is the third column. It is the 6th of March. And basically, these will be the dividends for the Yieldmax funds. Now, you'll notice I don't really know all the Yieldmax funds and exactly what their percents are going to be. I only really know the top ones. We know NVDY came in strong, CONY's strong as well, Facebook came in strong as well, and we see TSLY's dividend back up to 80 cents here. So we're going to get into that in this video. So I'll go over some honorable mentions that Yieldmax mentioned for their dividends, and we're going to talk about that a little bit and see why these stocks are paying out such high dividends and what's going on with TSLY back at 80 cents. Is this back to previous levels, or is there something wrong? Is there something different? So we're going to talk about that in today's video. So if you aren't already subscribed, please do remember to subscribe. We're up to 4,166 subscribers. So I want to say thank you guys for everyone who joined the channel. Right now, my wisdom teeth are still really hurting, so I'm bearing through on this video. But we're going to talk about a few different things here. We're going to talk about TSLY. TSLY actually had a really big fall down after the past couple of days where it had a great run up. Tesla was on a great run up. It was all the way up to $200, and then just in the past 2 days has gone down to $180, which obviously led the Yieldmax version TSLY to fall as well. Now, what I do want to start with is TSLY's dividend. We're looking at 81 cents here. Do I think this is fair? Yeah, I think it's pretty fair. Just going over the past month, TSLY has rose a little bit, and what I would have loved to do was compare old dividends, but it looks like Yieldmax, what they did was they adjusted all of their dividends to the current share price of TSLY, which I personally don't really like this. I would have liked to have seen what the dividends were before, because all we would have had to have done was doubled it in order to see what we're getting now. Sure, Yieldmax might have said, look, all we did was double it, but I would have just liked them to just have left it exactly how it was, so it'd be completely transparent, because I feel like this is going to confuse a lot of people. They're going to think, oh, look, Yieldmax is a $17 stock. We've been receiving, $1.60 dividends, $2 dividends. We have never received a $2.13 dividend from TSLY, so that is a bit misleading for Yieldmax, because a new investor might say, look, if I'm receiving a $1 dividend, $1.05 dividend, $1.16 dividend, the stock's been out for so long, and you know what? It's still trading about roughly, a $17 price point. Might not be a bad idea to get in, but you really have to look at the full picture. Sure, they did double their share price, so it looks like from the IPO they started at 40 instead, but it's just something to keep in mind that I didn't really like. But nonetheless, TSLY is back up to paying its usual dividends. Nothing changed in terms of the dividend percent, still paying about 50% in dividends, up to 81 cents. And I really thought Tesla was going to be in kind of a longer bull run here. You could see that it's been hitting kind of highs here at about $260, then tracking all the way back down. We tracked down, and then once again had a few rough days. Now, I'm not sure where it's going to go from here, because I'm just looking for any kind of support here. It could potentially drop lower to about $160, and then that might be the real kind of lowest price we'll see for TSLY. Each time TSLY has been trending lower and lower, and so it's hard to gauge when it might stop falling and potentially Tesla might pick up once again. So there's a lot of kind of uncertainty around that. But next, what I want to talk to you guys about is the highest payer for the Yieldmax dividend, which was NVDY, and there's a bunch of others we could go over, which I'm not going to. AMDY 137 dividend, Moderna with a 113. Moderna, I say the Yieldmax version. AIYY with a $1.06 dividend. These aren't bad dividends by any means. PayPal as well. PayPal had a great month, so it's good to see that PayPal had a good run up there too. But let's look at NVDY, because NVDY, you'll look at the dividend and you're like, wow, it's paying a $2.60 dividend. That's fantastic. We're looking at kind of how it's performed recently. You could see here the dividends, they were a little bit like lackluster here, but the past few have gone up. They're paying a $2.60 dividend. They paid $1.53 previously, and their underlying stock, the Yieldmax version, has also gone up to roughly $30 or so. You can see here that over the max history is kind of falling flat, and then in the past little while, January all the way up till now, which is March, it has gone up 50% or so, and that's due to the underlying stock NVDY or NVDA also going up roughly about 50% or so. So you or sorry, 100%. So you notice how the Yieldmax version went up 50%, NVDA went up about 100%, but also your Yieldmax version is paying some pretty high dividends. For NVDY, we're looking at about a 60% dividend. So I do say it's really keeping up with NVDA in terms of returns. But this is a fantastic bull run, and this obviously really contributes to why NVDY has really exploded in price recently. Now, NVIDIA, look at this, a $2.1 trillion market cap. That is insane. Their max chart history looks like it just took off like Elon Musk's rocket ship or something. That is wild. But you gotta wonder, when could people see NVIDIA as potentially overpriced? Because I'm pretty sure they are in the AI space. They are kind of in artificial intelligence. And I think companies in the tech sector can tend to get a little bit overblown when we're in bull markets like we are now. And this could be kind of a pretty big bull run that is over adjusted, and so we might see a little bit of a pullback in NVIDIA, but I personally don't know. I haven't looked into the stock that much. That is all just me speaking gibberish out my mouth. But I find it very interesting how we have a Yieldmax stock that has crossed $30, is kind of holding this point currently and still paying out pretty high dividends, kind of like CONY back in the day. Now, the last stock I want to show you here is FBY with a $1.17 dividend. Yes, 117-cent dividend. So FBY has kind of been trading. It's been trading good. You know what? Since IPO, this is exactly probably what you'd want your Yieldmax fund to do. Slowly appreciate over time while still paying out some pretty good dividends. And it's obviously because the underlying stock Meta has just slowly appreciated over time. There's blips like we see here where they had like a pretty good bump up, but you see here in the Yieldmax versions, we don't really capture these blips as much. So if we can have this kind of steady pace here where we have a steady run up, that is going to be the best case scenario for any of our Yieldmax investments. FBY and Meta is a pretty good example, obviously, other than this little bump here, but nonetheless, it's to the upside, so it's not the end of the world. But as you guys know, all the Yieldmax strategies, they take all of the downside but are limited to the upside. So that's exactly why we need slow upside and we need very limited downside. So this is just a little video going over the distributions and what kind of I thought for each stock for the Yieldmax that they did release for the distributions. Obviously, we don't have every single distributions. One that I'm missing is SQY. I have 22 shares of SQY. They don't show it here, so I'm assuming it's obviously going to be lower than 72 cents. But tomorrow we'll really see the full scope of what our Yieldmax dividends are bringing in, how much they're going to bring in income for you guys, and obviously, you know, how they've been performing for you guys so well. So if you guys did enjoy this video, I want you guys to subscribe if you haven't yet done so. It's totally up to you. I don't want you guys to do anything. Actually, you guys do what you want. We're up to 4,166 subscribers. So I want to say thank you guys for sticking around this video. I hope that I brought kind of the Yieldmax distributions to your attention. You could check your brokerage, how much you're going to get, and just a little bit of information about a couple stocks that we wanted to highlight here. So if all sounds good, I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you guys do stay tuned to the next video, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. So take care.